Okay. In the meantime, Ashika, can you send a reminder to everyone who had registered, if you can, and then we will begin. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to this exciting webinar on navigating supply chain careers in Nigeria. This is a very special webinar we have organized for young supply chain professionals uh, within and across Nigeria who are working within the health systems and are also managing or are going to manage some or the other supply chain functions within the health systems. We can understand that supply chain is not always a career of choice in many countries, including Nigeria. Uh, Today, we also have a panel of experts who also, came to supply chain not by choice, not always, but it was designed in a way that they had to learn on the go and become supply chain experts as well. So today we are trying to provide a structured pathway to understand how supply chain can be a career of choice for many young professionals and how you can navigate your journey in this, I would say, a minefield, of job roles which are aligned with supply chain roles, but they don't talk about it so often. And also how to gain supply chain skills to be relevant in this sector. So the objective of today's webinar is to explore these careers in supply chain, to understand various pathways, challenges, and growth strategies that you can adopt as a professional within this sector. This webinar will provide a learning and reflection space where supply chain and health professionals, or even young graduates, or even pharmacy students who are in their final years, for example, can understand the breadth of the career opportunities within this space, hear from international and national experts, and discover practical ways to advance their career journey. Let's quickly look at the agenda for today. As I'm doing the introduction, post that I will invite Dr. Andrew Brown for the keynote address. After that, there is an expert from Nigeria who will talk about the Nigerian supply chain sector. He will provide a reflection on the Nigerian supply chain sector. Then we will introduce a program which is specifically designed for this purpose, wherein young professionals can receive coaching and guidance on how to navigate their careers within supply chain. After a quick introduction to the program, we will invite some of the coaches from this program who are senior health and supply chain experts in Nigeria. And we will have a discussion with them on how they navigated their careers within Nigeria. Then finally, there is a survey for everyone and an extended Q&A with the program coordinator if you wish. And we will aim to finish this in about 90 minutes time. So to begin with, a quick introduction about myself and B-Skill. My name is Sanjay Saha. I'm the founder and CEO of B-Skill. I'm also a health systems expert, working across sub-Saharan Africa for the last 15 years. B-Skill was founded in 2020. It's a global provider of learning and networking opportunities for public health professionals. At B-Skill, we create scientifically backed curriculum and use affordable e-learning systems to support health professionals from low and middle income countries. B-Skilled, we have been collaborating with a lot of experts and organizations within Nigeria who create products and services which are aimed at young and mid-level professionals in health in Nigeria, so that you can expand your career, you can learn critical skills within health and supply chain, and be part of a growing network of professionals at B Skills Hive platform. Jenga Rise, which is the program that we will talk about later, is B Skills' newest product, which is designed for young professionals who are either entering the health and supply chain sector or who have spent up to about 5 years in this sector. Let's meet today's panel very quickly. We have Dr. Andrew Brown, who is the Director of Education at B Skilled. He is an expert in workforce development across the globe. He's also an adjunct professor at University of Canberra in Australia. He has worked across various global grants, the latest being MTAPS for MSH, and he has also worked for the GHSC grant funded by USAID. Then we would also have Mr. Ogwuche Odo, who is a supply chain and reproductive health specialist at UNFPA and has worked significantly within Nigeria. We have Dr. Afusat Adesina, who is the chairman of West African Physicians chapter for Nigeria. Dr. Ibrahim Yahaya, who is the chief pharmacist at the ATBU Teaching Hospital and an expert in health systems and supply chain. And finally, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, who is a senior program specialist at Walter Reed Army Institute in Nigeria. So this is a extremely talented panel, and we are really privileged to learn and listen from all these experts today. Now to start, sorry, what happened here? Yeah. To start the proceedings, sorry, something is wrong. To start the proceedings, I will do the poll later. I'm just a bit conscious of time. But to start the proceedings, I would invite Dr. Andrew Brown, who's the Director of Education at B Skilled. And like I said, he has more than 3 decades of expertise within supply chain and health systems, and has supported countless professionals in their growth journeys in supply chain. So Dr. Andrew Brown, over to you to discuss supply chain as a career globally. What are the possible pathways and how can they be managed? Over to you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Can I just in the first instance check that you can hear me okay? Perfect. Yes. So congratulations, Sanjay and the team, for putting together such a great panel, and it's my privilege to be amongst colleagues. The profession of supply chain in health is something that really is exciting. I am a pharmacist by background, and I've been on this journey for some time. I now have 2 daughters who have 4 grandchildren between them. I have 4 grandchildren between them, and so I've got some experience to share with you. It was also my privilege to be in Nigeria about 3 weeks ago, in Lagos, helping with a leadership and change management program there. And I want to congratulate Nigeria on their independence celebration last week. Next slide, please. When we're thinking about careers, we want to think about, is it worth investing our time and the next 30 years of our life in a certain area, a certain sector? Is AI going to take our jobs? Is there going to be need? These couple of facts here should scare you, but also show opportunity. So up to 500,000 people have been killed by fake medicines in sub-Saharan Africa. And WHO considers there 267,000 linked or to falsified substandard antimalarial medicines. This is a lot of people dying because of poor quality medicines. Supply chain is one of the factors. On the right, you will see the total number of counterfeit incidents concerning pharmaceuticals worldwide. These are increasing. The reason I put these slides here, it shows that there is a need for experts in the supply chain associated with pharmaceuticals. Next slide, please. But more than that, as we think about medicines access and availability, over 1.2 billion people Think about how many people that is. There is 250 odd million people, maybe a little bit more in Nigeria. But in 2021, 1.2 billion people lacked access to basic medicines. This means these people, and in another document, it talks about 1/3 of the population having insufficient access, not accessing antimalarials, and so dying, not accessing products to treat diarrhea and dying, not accessing the antibiotics required for infection and dying. This should concern us and drive us forward, and it also notes work we need to do in supply chain. Next slide, please. When I talk about pharmacy supply chains, I'm talking around the flow of products from the manufacturer all the way through to the patients through supply chains. As part of that flow, there is also pharmaceutical services activities that happen at hospitals and at health centers, where the selection and use of medications is more pronounced. In a number of countries, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, pharmacists are involved in supply chains. But pharmacists don't always have the competencies from their baseline education in order to do supply chain work. I was one of those pharmacists. But on this diagram, we're summarizing public health supply chains as the product flow of life-saving medicines. Let's also add laboratory agents. Let's also add laboratory and also medical equipment and sundries. Quite a large range of products that our patients need to keep them well and healthy. Now you'll see there's a back arrow, which is a flow of data. Now this adds a level of complexity and quite strategic interest in public health supply chains. It's not just about supplying medicines. There is a complex web of systems. So it's a place of interesting work. Next slide, please. Within this space, and a number of you on this call, from what you've noticed in the chat, are involved in some of these different groups. So there are UN agencies who employ people in this space. For example, United Nations Population Fund, they have a supply chain group. Whether it's UNDP, United Nations Development Fund, UNICEF, also WHO, for example, multilateral organizations like Global Fund and Gavi. Now, keep in mind, if you've been watching the media, that Gavi recently had a full replenishment, which means they're going to have jobs in the future. There are bilateral donors. Yes, USAID has stepped away for a moment. They'll be back, probably smaller, but more specific, but other bilateral donors. Number of implementing organizations, now with an increased focus on local organizations rather than multinationals. Private sector with an interest, particularly the middle and growing class of Nigerians asking for private sector access medications. Those companies need supply chain. And also government entities, of which a number on the call are here. Next slide, please. So that's where you can find supply chain jobs. One of the particular notes I've got here is just a little bit more specific. In health, we've got, I've mentioned the Global Fund, Gates I didn't mention, bilateral countries, Australia, UK, Canada. There's the large US-based implementers for which there is uncertainty I've noted there, and local implementers. The reason I put some of those names there is you might want to take the time to have a search and see what's happening on their websites in relation to local jobs in supply chain. So this is health supply chains. Next slide, please. One of the other aspects for us to consider as we move to the next slide is that in addition to the health supply chain sector, we also talk about humanitarian supply chains. So these might be supply chains that pop up or become strengthened in terms of humanitarian crisis. Now, humanitarian crisis we described here as if there is security issues, which we know some of the northern states in Nigeria have, natural disasters, often Mozambique has natural disasters, famine, pandemic, and other major emergencies. These particular crises we call humanitarian crises, and supply chains are critical to be mobilized in these environments. So it's also an opportunity for employment. The reason I'm mentioning that here is often in a country context, certainly regionally and globally, the organizations and the people involved in health supply chains very rarely, only occasionally, engage in the humanitarian situation. These 4 countries that I've just noted here, if you read through those, let's just pick out Central African Republic here. There's been widespread violence and displacement throughout the country. South Sudan, these years of devastating floods and civil war, Afghanistan and Syria, as noted. In each of these places, there are critical supply chains that are being funded and made operational by a range of organizations we've said earlier. And these supply chains are often separate to the more regular health supply chains. And in humanitarian crisis, often not available. And so special supply chains need to be built and staffed. And that's why I'm emphasizing it in this talk. Next slide, please. So we've spoken about particular health, supply chain related crises and the need for staff in that particular environment. Now, what you will note is that on this slide, where across the world there's a map of a range of droughts, floods, and other activities. So not only is this something sub-Saharan Africa, but globally, skills in health supply chains are needed and are directly transferable. And this map I find is interesting. It's a bit scary because these places that are tagged, these countries are tagged because the crises that are noted there happen often. Next slide, please. So humanitarian is global. So is health supply chain, but global for humanitarian seems to be more. So the humanitarian supply chain works a bit like this. There is facility and stock location and pre-deployment of stock in a number of strategic locations globally. There is a particular incident, whether it's unusual rainfall, flood, or security incident, and then within 24 hours, there is a mobilization internationally of relief support. Then there is temporary depots and location routing that happens, and then over the next 72 to further hours, we move on to trying to settle down and get those products in countries. We've perhaps seen these types of situations in the media, or depending where you've worked, you may have seen this as well. So we have this preparedness and initial response, and then we have the disaster response. I'm just pointing this out because the actual flow of commodities and the particular competencies required varies a little bit, but there are also similarities. But it's quite an interesting area to work in. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, for health supply chains, these are a range of humanitarian assistance leading implementers. You can see them listed on the screen, and often those particular implementing organizations are different from the organizations involved in health supply chains. And the reason I'm mentioning this to you, because if you're interested in the career, it's my belief that the competencies required for humanitarian supply chain and health supply chain are very similar. Humanitarian supply chain is not only health products, but other products necessary, for example, wash products and nutrition products, whereas the health products are what we usually talk about in public health. Next slide, please. So as we go on this particular journey together, I wanted to share with you from my now bald head experience some of the practice tips as developing professionals for you to consider and take seriously as you plan and direct your future. The first is that you need to take responsibility for your own future and career. Other people don't have that responsibility. This is on you. And in my experience, those that are active and plan and really work towards their future do well. Update your CV. Is it contemporary? Have you included not only your technical skills, but your managerial and soft skills? The difference between a good candidate and an excellent one is this managerial and soft skills. What evidence have you put there? Tag the job opportunity pages of companies that interest you. And we mentioned some of those earlier. Go and have a look regularly. What jobs are they offering? Look at the donor websites to see who has been awarded funding in your country, and seek out those organizations to talk to key people to develop relationships, declare interest, and show your abilities. Network, network, network. If Be Skilled had a t-shirt for this course, this would probably be on it. What professional associations, for example, could be International Association of Public Health Logisticians, the local Pharmacists Association, you could have a supply group. Get connected, meet colleagues, see what's going on, join and contribute what you can, and consider some honorary positions to help those organizations so you get known. Follow-up development websites. A lot of people know DevAid, but there are other ones. DevAid, DevX, UNGM, and don't forget looking at LinkedIn. Now, it's not only the jobs you want, but the jobs you might want in the future. You can use a structured method to go and have a look at these sites, see what other companies are asking for, and that will give you insights on the type of skills, competencies, knowledge, and courses you need to be developing to prepare yourselves for jobs in the future. Now, do you need more educational training? Again, just to emphasize, jobs descriptions that are available through these websites and in other places are available, and places where you can go to see what organizations are asking for. Next slide. So there's some of the practicalities. The other thing I'll note, I work at the University of Canberra, and our students there are increasingly getting caught out for using AI. And we've had a number of students this week that we've had to put up to the disciplinary board because of that work. I just wanted to do a shout out for integrity. Integrity is the main aspect of your professional career. Resist any temptations to take shortcuts. And I'm just saying that as a general note because this week I was shocked that a number of my students ventured in this direction, and this will taint their whole career. There are a number of people out there who want to support you. The Jenga Rise program is a way to interact with mature colleagues to help you on this journey. You should take the initiative and be looking at LinkedIn, Facebook, email alerts from organizations, conference alerts, looking at journals, to take an active role to see what's out there. You might use some of these, but different organizations use different ways of communicating. So take the opportunity to have a bit of a search, look around, every couple of months, go back and have a look again. The world changes very quickly, but take the opportunity to go and have a look. Next slide, please. One of the particular, this slide is another t-shirt. I think we could have a whole t-shirt range for Be Skilled, Sanjay, that we could have here, a different t-shirt for each day of the week. And one of the processes that I wanted to talk to you about is how to get noticed and connected in a busy world and in a world where there is lots of competitors. Take the opportunity to introduce yourself to key people. Now, often in cultural contexts, and I understand Nigeria to be such a culture, there is a cultural understanding that you should not approach your bosses or senior people out of respect for their positions. What I'd also like to say is that a number of people, whether it be in your country or other countries, value conversations with junior staff members, and in a respectful and one-to-one environment, whether that's email, phone call, etc., will often give their time and be happy to engage with you. So be respectful for your culture, but be bold. Take the opportunity to respectfully reach out and ask questions. Would you be happy for me to have a 10 or 20-minute conversation about your job to understand what you do? Would you mind if we have a cup of coffee so I can ask you a couple of questions about a career? So be bold, but be professional. Join organizations and serve, I've mentioned. Attend conferences and other key meetings as your funds allow. And often in such a big country like Nigeria, there are opportunities, even if they're small. Seek out info from media, and we've discussed that in the previous. Seek out a mentor in your field. Who is someone you respect? And I'm quite excited by the senior colleagues that are going to be talking in a little while in a panel. They are great people. There are many others around. Develop and maintain networks. Don't forget that first t-shirt. Network, network, network. Earlier this year, I became unemployed. Trump fired, what do you say? You're fired. Trump fired me. I went out through all of my network. I applied for a number of jobs through the internet. Where I got small pieces of work was all through my networks, not through cold responses to job ads and so on. So I just want to again emphasize that's why I said earlier that network is important. A number of people that I've been developing relationships with over 10 years were able to give me small amounts of work that I've been able to put together as a very small consultancy. Network. Next slide, please. One of the other aspects as you move along, this is the next lot of t-shirts, but maybe these ones are stickers that you can put on the cover of your computer or on the wall at work. These are points, I'm going to go through a couple of them that over the years I've written down and I've reflected on, and people who do these things, in my opinion, are successful. Professional and technical integrity is everything. If you damage your trust and integrity, you're gone. Develop core managerial and soft skills. Don't just think about the technical skills. How well do you manage conflict? How well can you advocate? How well can you communicate and engage with people? Which is the next one, excellent communication skills. I'll say it again. The difference between a good candidate and an excellent one is how well you communicate. Make sure you understand your technical competence, continue to develop it. You cannot be an expert in everything. Have a baseline set of competencies and then add expertise to a particular area, hopefully an area that has need that you can see in the environment around you. I would encourage you to add something to your CV every 6 months, even if it's simply that you've done some volunteer work. Maybe you've written a note to a journal. Maybe you've started a new job. This is important. Guess what? Network. Know who is working in your area and what they're doing. Who are the experts? What's happening in the industry? What skills do others need that you need to develop? AI is a big one right now. Some wise person recently, a couple of people said, if you are a professional and you are not planning to use AI ethically in the next 5 to 10 years, then you are planning to be unemployed. Very striking words. Be the first person to cross the road and be the first person to cross the road when it is safe to do so, at the first safe opportunity. What do I mean? All of you have been in a busy city and you have been in a traffic road and you had to cross to the other side. Some people wait and all of a sudden a long time has passed. Some people jump out and get squashed. But some people look for a certain safe way to do it that others may not think is safe and venture out to cross that road, engage in the unknown and a bit of uncertainty, but they get across the road. If you are that type of person that can quickly assess your environment, engage and move forward, you will be in front of your peers. Be intentional. Don't just put your sail up in the wind and pray that you'll be sent in a particular direction. One of the important things is certainly if you are a person of faith, by all means pray, but you need to be intentional in your approach, make plans and follow them. What are the hot topics currently around the environment? If you do not plan it, it will not happen. Plus, if you did not document it, it never happened. And in this age of AI, more and more, you'll be asked to produce tangible evidence that what you're saying and what you're writing is truth. Next slide, please. Lots of exciting things there. You've run out of t-shirts. Now those are stickers. So what have we spoken about so far? What I've tried to do in a very short period of time is to tell you that if you have an interest in health supply chains and humanitarian supply chains, I would encourage it. And I would say that the opportunities for you are large, particularly in a context like Nigeria. You need to understand across sectors. We spoke about the health sector. We spoke about the humanitarian sector. You need to understand across employers. And I gave you a range of employers that are employing this sector. But then you need to be able to clearly map your path forward and engage intentionally. You're in charge of your career and make that work. And I've given you advice on how to do that. And then at the end there, I've given you about 12 different things for you to reflect on as a young or mid-career professional. And if you put those things into practice, it is my opinion that you will optimize your opportunities moving forward. With that, I would like to hand back to the chair and open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. This was really inspirational. At least, I mean, I found it really inspirational, and I see a lot of thumbs ups and claps for you, and a lot of congratulations emoji. So, if anyone wants to ask a question to Dr. Brown, we have a couple of minutes, and we have a few minutes for Dr. Brown, after which he would have to leave. So, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask it, or you can also put it in the chat. Yes, Friday, you will be sent the presentation. Any specific question to Dr. Brown? I see, Dr. Brown, your uh, ex-colleagues are also here from MSH and some other organization. I see someone unmuting themselves. Do you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah, please
Good
go ahead.
morning, Mr. Sanjay. I
Good morning.
must say Dr. Brown gave an excellent presentation. My name is Abdusalam Adam, a product specialist, Get Pharma Nigeria. Please, I would like to ask if there is any transformation state or a pathway for people that wish to transit from one line of practice to another. Like, I work with a pharmaceutical company, for example. I want to become a supply chain specialist. Is there a pathway or a platform that one can join to actualize this?
So just before
Thank you.
Sanjay comes in to add something specific, Adam, thank you so much for your question and your acknowledgement. The non-formal pathway that I would say is available to everyone is whether your aspiration is within your private sector company or another. Seek out people who are working in those roles already. Ask them what's required. If it's in your organization, speak to your HR department to ask them specifically the criteria they look for, the skills, the competencies, the minimum sets of experience and education, and then set yourself a path in that direction. In addition, to seek out individuals working in those roles in other environments in order to move across. In my career, I have done this and moved between working in community pharmacy, working in hospital pharmacy, working in academic pharmacy, and more recently working in international development pharmacy. And the way that I've done that is the way that I've just described to you by doing that personal research. But separate to that, there is a more structured way of engaging with others to help you on that journey. Sanjay, over to you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. And thank you so much for your question, Abdul Salam. You are at the right place. This particular webinar has been designed for professionals like yourselves who would like to enter into supply chain. And this program is on the lines of our new product that we have launched called Jenga Rise. And we will give you more information on how professional like yourselves can work with experts from Nigeria in designing a career pathway in supply chain. And that is a more structured pathway to enter and succeed in within the supply chain sector, first in Nigeria and then beyond Nigeria as well. I see a few more hands raised, so we will take two more questions. After that, we will say goodbye to Dr. Brown for now. So first, I will ask Joy Bathram to unmute herself and ask her question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjay, and thank you so much, Dr. Brown. I hope I can be heard clearly.
Yes.
Clearly.
All right. So, sir, I would like to ask, currently I'm at entry level. I am a supply chain and procurement assistant at an agency here, a state agency in Adamawa State. And I would like to know, with your experience in the sector and then with your vantage points of where you believe it's headed to, what are some necessary skills, certifications, and probably degrees that I need to gain to better myself and give myself a chance to get a job and actually contribute positively? to the sector.
Great. Thank you so much. One of the resources that perhaps Sanjay can make available to you is the page from Reproductive Health Supplies Coalition, which is a self-tutorial that just goes through a range of different things to consider. Now, there is no particular pathway that has been clearly mapped out. As you'll hear from today's speakers in the panel and from other things you read, individuals make this journey in all sorts of different ways. But the main elements are, one, to have a recognized supply chain, either certification or base level qualification. These can be obtained through professional associations as well as through universities. Depending on your environment, depends on what's relevant and not relevant. So that's why my earlier discussion, which is relevant to you, is to seek out an understanding of your context. So there's some of the jobs, etc. The next is the experience. You will need some level of experience for an entry-level job, and sometimes in taking an internship in a particular environment where you wish to work in the future can help in that regard. And I alluded, but the particular managerial and soft skills, the ones that people are looking for. One is they're looking for communication skills. Two is advocacy skills. Three, time management and change management skills. Separate to that, the trends. Again, if you have opportunity to an AI product, you could actually, this is a good thing to ask AI, the current trends in Nigeria with regards to supply chain. One of those will be the use of AI. One of those will be reduced funding. Another one of those will be an inadequate workforce to meet the needs. I'll stop there, Joy. Hopefully they give you some good starters. Back to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Andrew. And Joy, please, you can also join B-Skills Hive platform. You will find a lot of interesting entry-level e-learning programs to develop your skills in supply chain. And this is not only for you, also for many other professionals who want to start their careers within supply chain. We will take one last question. I see there is a hand raised from Charles Obiora. So Charles, if you want to ask your question, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, thank you, Sanjay, for the opportunity. Good morning, all. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
And your beautiful music.
Thank you, sorry. I'm sorry I joined a bit late this morning. I had connection challenges. I just want to note that from my interaction on the Beehive scale and some other presentations, I think this opportunity has been flooded with mostly pharmacists. I guess I am wrong, but I see a lot of pharmacists that are involved in this program, and I'm beginning to wonder what could be the prospects of other healthcare workers or other newbies that have zero experience actually in supply chain management, and for any other person actually that, as you have just mentioned, those that may want to explore a career in supply chain management. What could you advise? What could you say that are the prospects of such? And I'm happy if you could give me some guidance. Thank
Charles,
you.
thank you so much. Your question is clear. I will try and answer with similar clarity. In a number of low and middle income countries, health supply chains started from pharmacy because that's how the colonials and others did pharmacy at that time. In a number of countries, systems have matured so that the people who are responsible for supply chains are supply chain professionals. Now, a supply chain professional can have any background as long as you do the credentials for supply chain. It is true, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Kenya, most countries in sub-Saharan Africa, pharmacists are mostly involved in health supply chains. And the reason for that is mainly historical. Having said that, there is a movement of maturity to look for improved skills of supply chain professionals involved in supply chains, whether that's for health products or other health products. The difference here is that the credentials, as I noted earlier, are supply chain specific, not commodity specific. So they could be for health products or other products, etc. It's my opinion that the competencies required to move health products and the competencies required to move bottles of water are 90% similar, that there is only a small percentage difference when you're comparing commodities. I'm a pharmacist and I'm making that statement. There is a white paper from FIP from 2017 that talks about this topic. So basically, I would encourage whatever profession you're in, if you are interested in supply chain, you would note that supply chain for health products is often focused in pharmacists, yes, but not exclusively so. If you've got credentials in supply chain and you've developed those, then you can have opportunities. But careers in supply chain in all range of products, including humanitarian, actually rarely find a health person doing supply chain humanitarian. It's usually a supply chain expert. So again, coming back quickly, it is the courses to get your supply chain credentials and then some experience that will then set you on the pathway. Yes, there are opportunities, even if you're not a pharmacist. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. There is one last question from the chat, after which we'll say goodbye to you. And in the meantime, I would also request Yashika if you can launch this poll, which is on the screen, which is to understand one of the biggest career challenges that anyone is facing right now. There are some options. You can either select one or more. In the meantime, Dr. Brown, there is a question from Abubakar Umar, who's asking what sort of skills are required if someone has an interest in digital transformation in health supply chain.
Right. So it was about the digital aspect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a standard health supply chain credential, whether that's a professional credential, short course credential, or university credential, will have some aspect of digital in it. For both humanitarian, health, and all supply chains, the heart of the supply chain is the digital environment. So by doing those courses, you'll be able to see that. If you've done some supply chain courses and you feel that your digital is weak, there are some specific supply chain digital professional courses you can use as a catch-up. Separate to that, there is an explosion of activities in supply chains across all commodity groups in the areas of the Internet of Things, which equips a range of technologies to be used at different parts of the supply chain in order to improve efficiency. There is a range of technologies being used to more quickly use the data using machine learning and AI for determining product requirements and open and transparent systems for procurement and tracking. These particular areas, it is my opinion that the standards, certificates and so on are quite behind where the industry is. So if you're looking to get at the front of the curve to your peers, you would seek out professional short courses around these particular areas. The Internet of Things as they apply to supply chain and the use of AI, machine learning and other digital efficiencies to improve data analysis, visualization, and use. Thank you. Sanjay, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I think this was a really exciting and engaging discussion about careers within the health system and more specifically in supply chains. We really thank your time and we wish you a great day. There would be probably some more questions that some of our participants may ask, and we will send you those over email so that we can respond to those questions after this webinar. So thank you so much, Dr. Brown.
Yeah, that will be my pleasure, and I wish you all well on your journey. Good luck, but work hard. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. So Yashika, can we see the results of the poll? Yeah, okay, that's excellent. I think two key areas that are emerging is limited access to mentoring or professional networks and lack of clarity on future career pathways. And this really gives us a very good segue to our next section, where we will talk about the Jenga Rise program. Now, of course, there was a subsection on uh, supply chain careers in Nigeria, which was supposed to be led by Mr. Ogwuche Odo. We have some slides for them, and we will share those slides with you. You can go through it. Unfortunately, Mr. Odo has faced some technical challenges as he's not in Nigeria and was unable to connect. So he sends his apologies, and we really apologize that he hasn't been able to join. So there are some slides. I don't want to take those slides as I do not have as deep of a knowledge of the Nigerian supply chain sector as Mr. Ogbuche does. So I would rather send you these slides and you can go through them yourself. But the crux of the matter is that Nigeria as a country is positioning itself as a regional leader. And this is the best time for anyone who wants to enter into the supply chain sector, whether it is private, public, health, or non-health within Nigeria. Because very soon Nigeria will be looked at as one of the regional leaders, at least in the West African region, and eventually African leader, which in some aspects Nigeria already is. So there is a great scope in terms of careers within supply chain. And we will listen to some of our other panelists about those things shortly. Okay, why is it not moving forward? Yashika, can you check why the slides are not going forward? Yashika, can you hear me? Okay, the slides are coming back on. Yeah, okay. So we will do this poll a bit later. So please remind me, but I would like to quickly introduce the Jenga Rise program, after which I would like to invite our experts, coaches for the panel discussion. So Jenga Rise is our newest program for young young supply chain professionals who have done their pharmacy degree, or there was a question about other health professionals who may want to enter into the sector of supply chain. So this is a very structured, comprehensive 6-week program that helps you, uh, and gives you a guide on how you can navigate your career within supply chains. So as some of you discussed and asked questions, and we saw in the poll as well, some challenges that you're facing today are unstructured or unclear career pathways and limited visibility on roles, gaps in essential technical and soft skills, lack of mentoring or coaching, obstacles within your personal lives or within your organizations, and also difficulty aligning with the goals, aligning with the values that are required for a long-term career in this sector. So looking at all these challenges, we have developed this 6-week guided journey, where you work with an expert coach who is from Nigeria as well. These expert coaches have uh, created their careers without any guidance or with very limited guidance in the last 15 to 20 years, and have a lot of expertise and experience on how you as a young professional may not have to go through those kind of obstacles that they actually went through. This program, it focuses on self-discovery so that you get to know about yourself. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? How can you map opportunities which are possibly lying in front of you, but maybe not always visible? And how can you create a plan of action? Like Dr. Andrew said, if you don't write it, you will not do it. If you don't document it, we don't know if you have done it or not. So this program works on that philosophy. The program also gives you a lot of practical tools to address skill gaps and obstacles. So program will give you ideas of which courses you can join, which are free, where you need to pay something, which societies that you can join, what are some of the internships that you can do, visibility to all those things. What are the career pathways within Nigeria? What are certain obstacles that you can address? What are the job boards which are there in Nigeria? And eventually you can take all this knowledge and create a very clear roadmap, so that your reflection can turn into actions. So here you see a quick overview of the entire program. It starts with a launch workshop where you meet other participants and you meet all the coaches. Then you are paired with a coach. The coach, we will talk about who the coaches are. The coaches are very experienced. They have 2 to 3 decades of experience within the health and supply chain sector in Nigeria. Okay, so you are paired with a coach and they take you through a series of sessions over 6 weeks, starting with to get to know you, to understand your current career outline, your education, what you are doing today, then understanding with you what kind of opportunities that you're looking for, and based on those opportunities that you're looking for, doing gap analysis like skills gap analysis, growth gap analysis, competency gap analysis, a lot of different gap analysis, so that you know where you are today and what do you have to do if you want to uh, you know uh, go towards a particular job role or a particular job that you have in mind. Then they also help you to understand what kind of obstacles could there be if you want to go from point A to point B. So from your current job to the job that you envision, and how can you address those obstacles. Then they will also help you understand the key values that are needed in this sector. This is also something that Dr. Brown talked about. What are some of the values you need in this sector? What do you have today and what do you have to do to gain those values? Because if you want to succeed in this sector, you need certain values. And finally, when all this you have gone through, reflected upon it, then they will help you create a career action plan for the next 2 to 3 years, or maybe a bit more as well. This way, in a very structured 6 weeks program, you go away with a career action plan and a lot of resources that you can use to gain new skills, apply to new jobs, maybe apply to internships, and eventually uh, go through a progressive growth journey in your career. That is what Jenga Rise means and has been designed for. Jenga Rise turns reflections into actions. There is a self-discovery phase, opportunity mapping, action planning. Eventually, you go away with a clear career roadmap. For some people, it could be up to 3 years. For some people, it could be up to 5 years, depending on where you are today and what are your aspirations. It gives you an access to these coaches, and of course, you become part of the community. So you will have the access to coaches eventually. And as you become part of this community on Hive, you get access to other networks as well. You get a better awareness of your skills gaps and what do you need to do to develop yourself. And these were some of your questions when Dr. Brown was speaking. Yeah. So let's meet who these coaches are. So for the first round of the program, we have a set of 8 coaches who are, first of all, experts in their fields. They are all from Nigeria. They have done tremendous amount of work and have 2 to 3 decades of experiences. Plus, all these coaches have gone through a structured training program on how to be a coach as part of the Jenga Rise program. So some of these coaches are on your screen: Mr. Ibrahim Yahaya, Mr. Etta Achu, Dr. Ukamaka Okafor, who was the director of the Lagos State of Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, Mr. Ogwuche Odo, who is senior supply chain and reproductive health specialist, has worked with UNFPA, has done a lot of work in Nigeria. Mr. Ahmed Danjuma, Dr. Afusat Adesina, and you will hear from her shortly. Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, you will also hear from him, and Dr. Donald Uda, who is an expert in diagnostics and medical equipment within Nigeria. And all of these have worked in the supply chain. Maybe they did not come into this sector with the right knowledge and expertise, because it was like that 20 years ago. No one came to supply chain with a choice that they want to be in supply chain, but they navigated their careers and became experts in the field. And we will be inducting new coaches very soon. So there will be a bigger pool of coaches who will be available to you in the upcoming versions of Jenga Rise. Now, I would like to invite all three expert coaches that we have today with you. I would request if you can, switch on your camera so that we can see you, and that we can start this panel discussion. So Mr. Ibrahim, Yahaya, Abubakar, Suleiman, and Dr. Adesina. So I see Ibrahim, Abubakar, and yes, I see Dr. Adesina as well. So in the panel discussion, good morning, everyone. In this panel discussion, each of these expert coaches will share certain insights from their careers from Nigeria. And then all of you will get opportunities to ask questions to them. So each coach will go one by one, and then we will invite questions that can be asked to any of the panelists. So we will start with Dr. Afusat Adesina, who is the chairman of the West African Physicians Nigeria chapter. And the key question, Dr. Adesina, we have for you is, how did you navigate your career in supply chain? So over to you.
Thank you very much. As a way of correction, it is not physician, it is the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists.
Yeah, postgraduate.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I got confused. Sorry.
Thank you, it's okay. My name is Afusat Adesina. I'm a clinical public health pharmacist of over 20 years experience. And how I was able to navigate my career in supply chain. Yes, as a young pharmacist, I was taken as a volunteer in a governmental work, and I got there. There was a pretest because it was a training, a one-day training, and there were a lot of questions on inventory control, on how are you going to manage your stock, this, that, and I was looking at the pretest. Yes, I attempted, and then after that, at the end of the day, we were given, as you all know, we were given a post-test. So that was when I started thinking and started, in short, that is where my career started. This is over 20 years ago. The first thing I want to talk was that I stumbled. Before this experience, I was an immunization program as a supervisor. I was supervising and looking at cold chain, polio vaccines and other things. I was doing supply chain without knowing until the experience I just shared. And after the post-test, I did well. The pre-test was not so good. The post-test was good because I think I had an 80-something%. But one thing I caught there was one of the trainers who later become my mentor. He said, look at supply chain as if you're in your store and your kitchen. And as a woman, that was when I started thinking, okay, my store, my kitchen, how am I going to replenish? How am I going to do this? In short, that single training of a day, it was a meeting, was what brought into me that passion as a pharmacist to supply chain. But what I want to say at this point was I then started learning, I started networking, I started at that meeting at places, I started getting mentors and telling them what I wanted to do. So that took me to taking a lot of courses. I did my master's, I did 2 masters, I started taking trainings on supply chain, I did a lot of certification and even a PhD. And from that, I started my work and entering into one governmental work or the other. And that is what inspired me to know more, to gain more. I took a lot of courses. I did a lot of networking and I did a lot of mentor-mentee approach in my career. And I asked questions. Ask people, what is this? And at a point, somebody asked me, all these certificates, what do you want to do with it? But it paid off because whenever any job or any consultancy comes on board, once I put in my papers, I'm called. And practically, there are a lot of, in our terrain in Nigeria, there are a lot of things as a supply chain expert that you need to know and you need to do, whether in the community, whether in the hospital, whether in the industry, whether within your own local community. There are a lot of supply chain things going there. And you can know, just from the last presentation, we can see there are a lot of things to be done in Nigeria. And as also been mentioned, that Nigerian is going to be a regional hub. So a lot has been going on. I also belong to a lot of platforms where informations, where a lot of little things you might not look as important get you. But what I do is that I write down. When I go for a course, I put down what have I gained, where am I going to use it, and so I don't also keep quiet when there's any invitation to talk anywhere that I need to put in my supply chain wealth. I do that. So after all this, I met a lot of people, even on this platform, and I'm still learning. Even as I've grown, I'm still learning. Abubakar Suleiman is my colleague. We have been together for over 20 years, and a lot of work we've done together. Just last week, I still asked Ibrahim Yahaya for some support when I needed to give a presentation. So it is not, it is a long life learning, and you need to interact with a lot of people. You need to come out and you need to ask questions. So this is very important, but you need to network and you need to take a lot of courses. There's no need to be afraid that, and then don't take the courses to pass the exams alone. Make sure you practice and don't feel you have known all. Dr. Ukamaka Okafor is here. She's a very senior person in the country, Nigeria, and a lot of things we do together. So some people I'm meeting on this platform, I don't even know I'll meet them, but supply chain puts everyone together. I don't know if I have time, but I want to quickly share this little happenings during the COVID. A lot of things happened during the COVID, but because of the work we do, because we're together, we form a platform. As a Nigerian, you want to know how a particular commodity or a drug will get from Lagos in the southwest to Maiduguri in the northeast. And you want to satisfy the last person, that is the consumer. And here was COVID, no movement, nothing. How will you do it? But because of the supply chain experts, you're able to pick your phone, you're able to chat and get to somebody like Ibrahim Yahaya in the northeast of Nigeria, and the patient is happy. How will you do this? You can't do this except with the expertise you have in supply chain. A woman is there with her baby crying, there's COVID, she cannot move out of her house. How do you get what she needs to have? So supply chain is just interesting. It is beautiful. You can carve a career for yourself. And if you're a pharmacist, it's an added advantage because this is what we do. You might even be doing it without knowing. But until you are now certified, until you network, until you get somebody to mentor you, and as I am, I'm a mentee and I also mentor people. So it is a continuous thing and it's very interesting. So thank you very much. This has been my journey as on this path, and also the fact that there are a lot of motivation. By the time you see you satisfying somebody at the last end, smiling, by the time you are able to deal with stockouts, you are happy within you and you are motivated with what you are doing. And as Nigerians, I want us to look at it. This top work order from Donald Trump is a big opportunity for us as experts to come out. There are a lot of things Dr. Ukamaka is doing. She's the I think I can't remember the name for Lagos State. So a lot of things are being built, and we are talking about safety, security of commodities. So there's going to be more need for supply chain experts. So I admonish the younger ones among us here to key into so many of these. And we are always available to mentor. We are always available to network. I can see I mentioned names of people here. And just last week, I was calling Ibrahim Yahaya. And I got the things I needed. And we just chatting. So it's interesting. It's very rewarding. Thank you so much. Over from me.
Thank you, Dr. Adesina. Key messages from her I've also mentioned in the chat, that learn constantly, get certified in small things. They are always important, and eventually you get to know where you need them. Do a lot of networking, and yes, ask a lot of questions. Always ask questions and try to get those answers. So thank you so much, Dr. Adesina, for these great remarks. And with that, we go to our next panel of speaker, Mr. Ibrahim Yahaya, who's the chief pharmacist at the ATBU Teaching Hospital. And Dr. Yahaya, we have a question for you, which is, what are some of the key lessons that you think are important for early career professionals when you look back at your career? Over to you. Sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Sanjay, and good morning, colleagues. It's my pleasure to be here, and I will be discussing on key lessons for early career professionals in supply chain management, and it will focus on practical advice on skills and habits that made the biggest difference. As a supply chain early career, there are things that we should know and skills that we should also develop for us to fit into the supply chain space. And number one, most importantly, is for us to master the fundamentals of supply chain management. And we need to learn the core pillars of logistics, inventory management, demand and forecasting, as well as last mile delivery. And as early career professionals, we should also understand how each of these components or functions connects to business strategy and customer satisfaction. As we all know, one of the goals of supply chain management is to satisfy our clients, ensuring that the clients get the right drugs or right commodity at the right time, right cost, and right place. So we should be able to master the fundamentals of supply chain management We should also be able to familiarize ourselves with basic metric like lead time, refill rate, inventory turnover, forecast accuracy, and so on. Second aspect that we should focus as early career professionals is to develop our analytical and solving skills. You know, supply chain use a lot of data, and we use data for us to take informed decision. So we need to know some of the tools that are currently in use for us to fit into supply chain management. We need to learn things like Excel. We need to learn things like Power BI, ERP systems. We should also know some of the LMIS tools like the DHIS tool, Open LMIS, and also NHLMIS. These are tools that are currently used in Nigeria. So we should be able to navigate and know how to use some of these tools. We should also cultivate a habit of asking why to uncover the root cause of inefficiencies and balance our practical insight from operation teams on the ground. So developing analytical skills is very, very important for us as early career professionals in supply chain management. Number three is to build a strong relationship. You know, you cannot work in supply chain in isolation. You collaborate with the stakeholders, like the vendors, the third-party logistics, your colleagues, and even your customer. So you need to build a strong relationship, and you also need to develop an emotional intelligence so that you can interact with all the stakeholders. You should be able to develop skills like active listening, empathy, and most importantly, you need to treat other staffs like the warehouse staff, the drivers, the suppliers, and junior staff. You need to treat them with respect. So it's very important to build strong relationship. A lot have been said about networking. You cannot uh, do a lot of networking. That's also part of building a strong relationship. And I remember at the course of the lecture, Dr. Brown mentioned that when he lost his job, he used his network to secure other jobs. So a lot of networking is very essential in building strong relationship. Number four is for early career professionals to stay flexible and adaptable. Why do you need to stay flexible and adaptable? Because supply chain environment is volatile one. A lot of disruptions, the shortages of commodities, delays in supplies. So you could have a lot of disruptions in supply chain environment. So as a early career professional, you should be able to learn to stay calm under pressure and focus on solutions instead of blame. And we should also be able to be open to rotations across all the components or functions of the supply chain, be it procurement, be it inventory management, be it LMIS, in order to gain a holistic exposure of the field. Number five is to develop tech savviness. Yeah, a lot have been said about artificial intelligence, as AI, using AI with integrity. Dr. Brown then mentioned that if you cannot use AI in the next 5 years, that means you are you are sacking yourself from the job. So you need to know how to use AI correctly, because there are so many AI tools currently in use. Because of the automation in supply chain management, you need to learn things like analytics, Oracle, digital tools, emerging digital tools, AI in demand planning, and a lot of Internet of Things in logistics. And also, continuous learning digital skills will keep you relevant in the field of supply chain management. Dr. Afusat also made mention of a lot of learning. You need to do a lot of learning. You need to network. One area of networking is going to conferences. In Nigeria, we have so many pharmaceutical conferences, like those in community. They have a conference of pharmacists in the community, in the academia, in the hospital. And most importantly, we have the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria conference, which holds every year in November. Every November is an avenue for you to network and also learn from colleagues. Number 6 is to prioritize continuous
Dr.
learning.
Yahaya, one more minute,
I've
please.
discussed that. Okay. Then number 7 is effective communication. We should also develop skills of effective communication, report writing, presentation, and so on. Then number 8 is to think end to end. Don't focus on your immediate tasks. You need to understand how those activities impact upstream and downstream activities. Then also number 9 is to adopt the right habits. You need to be detail oriented, document processes and accurate records. It is said if it is not documented, it's not done at all. Then number 10 is to focus on sustainability and ethics. As professionals, we are all guided by ethics. And one of the key areas that we should also focus for certification, we have the B-Skill platform. We also have the Jenga Rise platform. We also have, you can enroll, if you're a pharmacist, you can enroll in West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, where we have specialization focusing on immunization and product logistics supply chain management. You can become a specialist or a consultant in that regard. So in conclusion, any career professionals success in supply chain comes with a blend of technical knowledge, problem-solving skills, adaptability, relationship building, and continuous learning. The professionals who make a difference are those who think end to end, embrace digital tools, uphold strong ethics while staying flexible in the face of uncertainty. Thank you so much for listening. Over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Yahaya. I have summarized some of the key points for everyone in the chat. I think we will listen to the video again, and I think you've created a 10-point charter for anyone who is entering this field on what to do, and we would document it as well. Now, finally, our third panelist, our third coach, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, I invite you, to talk about some of the common career mistakes that people make as when they are early in their career and how to avoid them. And of course, you talk from your own experience as well. So over to you, Mr. Suleiman. Sorry, you're muted.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, as the case may be. You have to bear with me also because there might be some noise in the background because I'm in the airport, but it's with the on and off. Yeah, thank you, Sanjay. As you've heard from my other colleagues, one thing that is very clear is for you to avoid the same pitfall many of us have gone through is first of all to have clear career goals. What is my vision? What am I planning to do? It could be a short-term, mid-term, or long-term goal, but we should have clearly career goal. If it is supply chain, yes, I want to focus on supply chain. And in supply chain, this is my plan, my short-term goal. In the next 1 year, I want to learn something new. I want to do something. I want to be able to chart a way forward for myself. But if you don't have a career goal, it will be very, very difficult for us for you to be able to be successful, because you will just be more or less be going around the same spot without getting anywhere. However, one of the ways also that we'll be able to get this is to have what we call, and you've heard of it from Dr. Brown, everybody has talked about it, is to be able to get a mentor. If you have a mentor, somebody that you look onto, be able to get one, networking. Yes, as you go, there is that person that you've heard of. This person can achieve so much based on your own understanding. You get to get closer to that person. And just as Afusat has said, ask question about what you have in mind. And that person will be able to provide clear guidance, and that will chart a way forward for you. But in a situation whereby we don't have a mentor and we think we can do it alone, it will be very, very difficult. Another thing also we should have in mind is we need to also, apart from having a mentor who would also guide us on what to do, guide us on how to navigate our chosen career, is to be able to invest in our own career too. Investment in our career in terms of time. It's not all the time that you need to invest using money. Yes, some level of will be there, you will involve, but career, investing in one's career, you need time. And a lot of free online courses are there. And the second speaker talked about so many other things, both soft skills and technical skills that we can gain. Some of these things we can get them online, especially as it related to supply chain. We go online, Google, even if you don't have anything, you have something in mind, Google that thing, you have something will pop up, look at it. And there are various sites that you can go to and be able to get certificates online without, at no cost. However, as time goes by, with time, we need to start investing by at least putting little money into whatever we want to do. In this part of the world, when we started, there's nothing more. There's nothing like intern and whatever. Even now, it's not very organized in Nigeria. However, just as I think Afusat have said, you need to come up with ready-made, you should be ready to volunteer your time. They might not pay you anything, but volunteer time to say, oh, let me try and volunteer time to go and learn something somewhere. But a situation whereby we don't want to do that, we looked at somebody somewhere, that person is doing very well, I want to get there. If you ask, that's why I say we should have a mentor. If you ask his career path to get there, you find that he or she must have gone through a lot, just as Afusat just explained to us our own career path. So we need to volunteer our time, and where we are opportune to have intern program, key into that intern program, and we'll be able to develop ourselves. If we don't do this, we'll find the career path to be chaotic at the end of the day, because we might not really be sure of what we want. And a lot of times when we start very early, there is like we are confused. In terms of indecision, we are not too sure of what we want. And the more reason why we need somebody a mentor that will be able to guide us in our career path. Another thing also that I would like us to look at is where you find very young professional, what you want is to get to a big international job. It's good to aspire. My goal is to get this, but you need to get yourself prepared from day one to get there. And how do you do that? You need to invest your time to learn. Volunteer as much as possible, as I've said earlier. A lot of time attend conferences, as my colleagues have you go to conferences, you have any opportunity for short courses, it could be professional development courses, any opportunity you have, try and do something, get yourself in there and learn one or two things. And then as you network, the sky will be your limit at the end of the day. It's not easy to get there, but it's also easy if you want to, because in supply chain, as my other colleagues have said, yes, if you look at it, it's both art and science. The science, yes, you can get it, read too, but the art, you need to learn it over time. That art of how to manage this yourself, you need to learn it over time. And if we'll be able to do this key thing, have a mentor, volunteer our time as much as possible to develop our own career, it will be very helpful at the end of the day. And then you find that you become a very sound supply chain expert over time. And just as Dr. Brown has said, a lot of opportunities are there. And just as Sanjay said, Nigeria should become a regional world hub for West Africa and possibly Africa over time. You will also learn more. There are so many places we can go to volunteer our time. Because early days then when we started, we found that young pharmacists, when I was still in government, we started volunteer scheme. Afusat will remember then, volunteer scheme where you find young pharmacists with troop to the facility. And then you find that we dispense medication, ARV medication per month. It's not now that you have 6 months and so many people. So with time, when those young pharmacists came, we started with over 20, something almost 30. A lot of them have gone very, very far now, and they just volunteer their time. Some of them are in community practice and other areas, and that has really helped. So if we can develop that now, even if you don't have an organized intern where we'll go to, please volunteer your time anywhere close to you. Also develop yourself career-wise, and then get a mentor that will be able to support you all through. The sky will be your limit. Just as Sanjay in his introduction of Jenga Rise program, if you will be able to key into that, where you will be able to come up and interface as a coachee, interface with coaches so that they will be able to guide you. And at the end of the day, you develop a career path. It will be very grateful for all of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Abubakar, and thank you to everyone, all the 3 expert panelists. I would request you to come back, and in case there are any questions, since we are a bit short of time, I would like to take at least 2 questions, maybe 3 if it is quick. So if you have any questions for the 3 experts that spoke to you, please, you can quickly ask it now. Friday, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah,
Yes, please go on.
Kind of commending the speakers. I think apart from the pharmacist from Bauchi, the other 2 are my colleagues who were together. And I am happy to hear from them at this level. Again, you know, some of these things, I don't know. As somebody had mentioned somewhere around, you see the funded project that have been truncated by the president of the US. Now, some of us, I was in GSR with Dr. Afusat, and up to now, we're told go and come back next month. But what I'm not trying to say now is that I need to have network here. I need to have networking here. And I'm happy that I'll be talking with much with Dr. Afusat and Dr. Suleiman henceforth. And I know they'll met me too. I'll be their mentee now. I know I'll be very happy to do that. Thank you, Mr. Sanji, and I know maybe through them I also get to you again later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Friday. Any other questions from anyone? We have to be quick if you want a question to be answered by the panelists. If not, then we will quickly move forward. I know all these points that the three experts have talked about, they are very inspiring, very motivating. So yes, Mr. Abubakar Umar, if you have a question, please go ahead. Mr. Umar, can you hear me? You are muted. Okay, it seems you can't hear us. Anyone else with any question for the three panelists?
Thank you, Mr. Sunday, for the. It was indeed an. Hello.
Okay, go on. We can hear you.
Yeah, please. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay, for the opportunity, and thanks to all the speakers. It was indeed an interesting session. My question is to Afusat. I just want to ask, how do you manage the supply chain career with the College of Pharmacists? I'm just imagining how you were able to manage it. I want to be able to achieve that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was able to clearly hear it. Dr. Afusat, were you able to hear the question clearly? I think it was something to do with how did you manage your career in supply chain while you are currently in the university. Sorry, I could not hear it very well. Maybe Abubakar, if you want to write it down in the chat, and then we can respond it to you later on. We are a bit short of time, so I will just ask it one more if someone has a question for our panelists very quickly, or else we will move forward. Okay. So
we'll move forward now.
Okay, so we come to a point where we are at the end of this webinar. So at the end of this webinar, we have a quick survey for you. Yashika is going to put the link of the survey on the chat. Yes, the survey is on the chat. This survey is for us to understand. Okay, Abubakar, I'll get back to you very quickly. Dr. Afusat, if you can read the question on the chat while I address quickly about the survey. This survey is to understand your career interests, where you are struggling, and if you would like to join the Jenga Rise program, which we introduced to you earlier. So again, the Jenga Rise program is a structured 6-week coaching program where you will be paired with some of the coaches that you have heard from today. And of course, there are more coaches. So depending on your career journey, we will pair you up with one of the coaches. Sorry, Ashika, can you bring back the slides, please? Yeah, thank you. So there is a QR code as well. I think Yashika has added for the survey on the screen, so you can also scan the QR code. So in the Jenga Rise program, you will be paired up with an expert coach who will guide you through, throughout these 6 weeks. They will guide you for your career development. How do you want to navigate and grow in the supply chain sector? So this survey, we would really appreciate if you quickly go through it. There are not many questions. It should not take you more than 2 minutes. And while you are doing that, I will also give you a bit more information about Jenga Rise. So this is the first cohort of the Jenga Rise program that we are going to launch in Nigeria. This is being launched in Nigeria first. Apart from all the countries that we work in, we chose Nigeria to be the first country where we can launch it. While the program fee is about $150, because this is the first time that we are doing it, there is an offer for you. You can join this entire program and get a final certificate at $50 US. You do not also need to pay all of it at once. You can enroll for the program by paying $25 US, and then you can pay the remaining before you finish the program. So anyone who is looking to grow their career in supply chain, wants to work with these expert coaches that you have spoken with today, or you have heard from today, this is your chance to register and be part of this growing network of professionals who will be coached and guided towards a more fulfilling career in supply chain management, either within the public sector or private sector, or even the faith-based or in the NGO sector. So there are a lot of options that you can go through. So please go through the survey and then look at these information on your screen and in the slides that will be shared with you. So with this, we have come to the end of the program. While there was a question to Dr. Afusat, I don't know, Dr. Afusat, are you still available? There was a question for you
Yes, I'm
as to
available.
how you are able to manage your career in supply chain and as a chairperson of WAPCP. If you want to quickly answer that.
Yes, thank you so much. That's a good question. As a supply chain expert, if you become one, you can always juggle things together. You can always do things together. You can always come out successful. You can always apply knowledge wherever you need. Simple thing I do is that I delegate with supervision. I don't do it alone, all myself. I have a beautiful set of executive. I have a secretary, I have a treasurer, I have this. So each and every one of them do their work. So you motivate people to work, you delegate, you supervise, and you hold your team. This is also needed in supply chain. Dr. Yahaya Ibrahim mentioned it. Even the cleaner has a role to play in whatever you are doing, and you need to respect and carry everybody along. So this way I'm able to do it and also do my work. I was the chairman of Association of Lady Pharmacists shortly. This new role just came in July. I'm able to do this because of the word networking and also making sure you are clear, open your doors, and then lead with examples. Thank you. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adesina. This was, I think, really appropriate in this day and age because as you grow in your profession, you have less and less time and you need to do more and more work. So you really talked about some key points about delegation, about working with your team, and finding the right people around you. Even the cleaner that you mentioned, you need them around you so that your work becomes easier. So as a young professional, it is really important for you to understand that as you grow in your career, you will have to do much more than you may have thought of. And it is really, really important that you engage yourself in multiple ways. Like Mr. Abubakar mentioned, volunteering, like many of the experts mentioned, networking, going to conferences, going to workshops, coming to webinars, but interacting with people. These are certain things that are really, really important and applies to anyone and everyone who is really passionate about growing their career in any field. But I think in supply chain, it is even more important as uh, Dr. Yahya mentioned that you cannot work in isolation if you are a supply chain professional. You have to be working with multiple different types of stakeholders and people. And hence, networking, that is probably a key prerequisite for you to be part of this profession. With this, I recommend and request everyone again to participate in the survey. And I really, really thank all the panelists who are the expert coaches of the Jenga Rise program for their wisdom, for their thoughts, and for sharing their experience that they have gained over the last 2 to 3 decades. I also thank Dr. Brown, who made available his time on a Saturday. That was really appreciated. And Yashika is going to be available for the next 5 to 7 minutes if you have any questions about Jenga Rise. So Yashika, maybe you can show yourself very quickly and say hi. Yashika, still there? Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. So Yashika is here. So she's going to be there for the next 5-7 minutes. So if you have any questions about the Jenga Rise program, and I will try to bring the slide back to this. I see some questions that start to come. Is a sales representative for a company or an industry also part of a supply chain? Yes, indeed. Why not? You are a key cog within the system, and from a sales representative, you can grow your career within this sector as well. So keep the questions coming, and we will try to answer as much as possible. If you have any questions about the program, Yashika is there. But if anyone wants to leave, this is totally okay. And again, I thank all our panelists for their time and efforts. And I thank everyone who joined us today. The recordings, the slides will be shared with everyone who have registered. And probably, Yashika, at this point, you can also stop the recording.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.